if you talk to someone about the problem, yeah, in some ways you have started solving the problem. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing about journaling is that you're telling the problem to yourself by
Yeah.
it's as if you are looking at yourself. You understand? You're observing yourself and you're telling it to somebody. It's brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. Anniedora, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
I remember when you wanted to start your podcast when we were in uni. You understand? When you started the Lemonade Society, it's, it's actually nice to see how how it has improved and everything. And I've
Yeah.
also listened to some of your episodes. And what would you say is your core message? Like, what would you say is the core message of the Lemonade
The
Society
Learning
podcast?
Society is really more encouragement and then giving people a different perspective than the one that they might have due to either popular opinions or the ones they see on social media.
Yeah, understand. And so, um, some of the issues you talk about, some of the things you talk about, at least from most of the episodes I listen to, they revolve around friendship, relationships, you understand, and self improvement, and and noticing
Yeah.
toxic traits. Abby,
Yes.
that's interesting. Okay, how would you define a friend?
How would I define a friend?
Yes, how would you
I
define
think
this one?
for me, a friend is someone who shows up in the best way that they can for me. Someone who is kind towards me and someone who has my best interest at heart. And I have to have all of those same things back towards that person. So it's not lopsided. That for me is a friend.
So it has to be a two-way street. So if someone
Yeah.
if, if someone has all those things, if someone shows you kindness and all these things and is not reciprocated, that means that
I
means
wouldn't
you won't call that person a friend.
either that there has maybe there's something missing. Maybe in my own mind, we've not yet gotten to that point of oh we're friends because you can't have all of these things towards someone that you don't necessarily know. You might be supportive of a person that maybe online you see how they are growing. Say, for example, if you don't know me or you start listening to my podcast, you would want me to do well. You'd want to see how far I go with it. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're friends automatically.
Oh,
So that's why I'm saying like it has to be a two-way thing. And so the other person doesn't even feel like they're just giving and not receiving.
understand. One of my favorite definitions, if I can call it that, favorite definitions of what a friend is was from Jordan Peterson. I think his argument, what he said was, a friend is someone that you can. No, a friend is someone that when things go bad, the person is sad with you, and when things are going well, the person is happy with you too. You understand? And so that's always stuck with me, and I
Yeah.
think I always look
I
forward.
think that's pretty much who a friend should be.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're in agreement there. Okay. So what are the core qualities? Would you say you look in a friend? I understand the aspect of, from what you have said, that the person you should go both ways. You understand?
Yeah.
But what if you are going to advise people? What are you going to say they should like? What are the
What I'm
car?
looking for in a friend
Yes.
or the
What are the
characteristics.
yeah the
For
characteristics to?
me, I'm very big on kindness because I feel like a person that can be kind towards you can equally be compassionate and understanding of your own perspective or your own background before they judge you. Because I think it's very normal to judge people, but we tend to judge them based off of our own perspective. So kindness is big for me. A person who is honest and who tries to tell the truth. And I use the word tries because sometimes I may not necessarily want to hear the truth. Sometimes you may not want to tell me the truth. Sometimes the truth might be hard. So tries to tell me the truth Somebody that I feel like I can be myself with is very big for me too.
And so, kindness, honesty, and someone that you can be yourself with.
Yes.
So, um, for someone that's actually listened to your pod a lot, actually, how would you there's this thing you keep on I would say you always bring up, and that's about I'm actually surprised you did not put you did not say understand boundaries, because as someone that listens to your podcast, you would know that you're big on boundaries. How would you
Yeah.
argue that boundaries should be put in a friendship, or how do you define them? I would say.
It depends on what you define as your boundaries. I wouldn't necessarily, boundaries for me is more of an observatory thing. It's not something that we discuss immediately, or because when people are getting to know each other, it's very normal that sometimes they might do something that will upset you. So me, sticking to my boundaries is me calling those things out and saying, oh, I don't like this, I would rather you don't do this. A very big thing for me is you can't come and visit me without letting me know. I will hear you knocking and I will not answer you. It's very big for me because I'm very big on my time, my privacy, my space. But I didn't put it as a thing because it's something I will get to notice with time, with us hanging out, with us getting to know each other, with us vibing. So boundaries are still very big. But I think it's a thing that you place while you're getting to know the person. But prior to that, once kindness is non-existent to you and I look at you, you're someone who's like extremely judgmental. If I look at you and you seem to be the type that what's this thing people do where they size you up. I don't like people that size other people up because it's like there's days that no, that's a thing too that I cannot stand. Then people that are compassionate, all the other things I mentioned before are
Y-
things I pay attention to that it makes me want to prolong our relationship or our friendship.
Yeah, I understand you. The concept of boundaries in friendships is always very interesting, because you even though there are boundaries in friendships, there are parts where you want your friend to push you, because, like, personally, I would argue that I prefer so-called straight shooters. You understand? People that will just say, "Listen, you're messing up this way," or people that will just that even though that wants me to um, I don't say be in uncomfortable places or go to uncomfortable places, because I would argue that is the places where you're uncomfortable, that's where you grow. You understand?
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that a friend is meant to help you do that. A friend is meant to push you. A friend is meant to tell you maybe you should try harder at this. What are the steps you propose to um, to help in to help to heal toxic traits? Well, what are the steps you propose? How do we heal toxic traits?
Okay. Because toxic traits are things that you have to heal personally. The first step would be acknowledging it, because you can't heal what you don't acknowledge. So you have to acknowledge it. I equally would say to investigate where it started from. What led to that behavior? Why do you act the way you do? That's equally very good because once you understand the trait or once you identify it, the next thing will be why do you do it? And then to notice, okay, what are things that happen that trigger it? Once you can notice that, okay, certain things trigger it for you, certain things that might trigger you to get into that or to start being toxic or to make it very hard. Say, for example, some people find it hard to communicate. And once you investigate, you realize that it's because maybe from a younger age, they were not really encouraged to speak up on things that maybe bothered them. So once someone annoys them, they immediately grow quiet or they grow mute. They don't know how to say, this thing you did, what did you call it? They're not sharpshooters. They
Yeah,
don't know how to speak up and say, this thing you did, it pissed me off. I don't like this. I don't respect that.
it seems
So,
it
all
seems,
of those things.
it seems like you're
And
you're
equally
talking
being
to
very gentle with yourself while you're healing. because those toxic traits, because you're so used to and they become your default, they become your own natural behavior.
Mm.
It's very hard to change something that is second nature to you. So identifying it, knowing why, and then knowing how or what causes you to get into that toxic behavior or to portray those toxic behaviors.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. So you first, it's really natural too. You understand? So
Mm-hmm.
you first know the problem. You first acknowledge that you have that problem. First
Yeah.
acknowledge that you have the problem, and then you try to investigate why, where does it come from? Where does it come from? And what triggers it? And what's the
Mm-hmm.
last one? What's the last one?
The last one will be what you can do for yourself, what you can do to maybe reduce that or to even catch yourself, because healing is not straightforward.
Yes.
Some days you won't be able to help it, you just go into that mode
Mm.
that is toxic. So it's really, the what, how can you deal with it? And then the how you can deal with it is like it has its own steps to step, depending on who you are and what that toxic trait is. For me now, I would say journaling is very, very big because journaling helps you identify some of those things.
Journaling, journaling is one of,
Yeah.
is one of the greatest things that humanity has ever come up with. I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. It's beautiful. I started after I read this book by Ran Holiday. What's good? Stillness. I think it's for something called something regarding stillness. I'm coming. Let me. I want to get the name
Okay.
properly. Ran Holiday. I think it's stillness something. Yes. The man normally talks about stoicism and all these things. His stillness is the key. His stillness is the key. And so it was after I finished reading that book that I found out that, and it's not only about just reading. Obviously, I started actually writing down things when they disturbed me. And one thing about journaling is that it's like you having a second brain. Or not only that, it's like you watching your mistakes and watching your
Yeah.
thought process unfold in front of you. You understand? Because basically journaling is you gisting the rubbish paper. What happened to you during your day? That's just
Yeah,
basically it,
it's
or what's
basically
disturbing
just you
you.
taking into account
Yeah.
your day.
So it's as if you are telling somebody, but
And right
nobody's
now, I
there.
think even with journal prompts, it's very much easier.
To be honest with you, I don't even
Did
know
you hear
what.
me?
Yeah, I'm saying I don't even know what journal prompts are. I just know that me, I have one book that I bought
Oh, you
that.
should try using journal prompts. They're very good because they make you think even deeper. Like you
Really.
can do, I think with me now, I was able to identify a lot of my own toxicity by doing shadow work. And shadow work is you just taking into account all your bad behaviors.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Anyway, Sha, for someone like me that just started less than 4 months ago, it's something that I've
Yeah,
seen
take
that.
your time.
I'm not rushing. Given that the book that I bought, like for in order for me to start, the story is crazy. In order for me to start, I bought this expensive journal. Expensive. It's not that expensive. Oh, you understand?
Yeah.
Twitter they were fighting about 10K the other day. The thing is around 8K. You understand? And in my mind, I'm like, I'm only writing things that are really important. And so the first time that I sat down, I said, let me even write about this thing bothering me. By the time removed my hand from the pen, it was like 8 pages that have gone. And I'm like, wow,
It must have
what's
really
happening?
bothered
You
you.
know, and so since that time, anytime I just write, and I write when it's something that is really really bothering me, and it's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's one of the best
And
advice
to probably
that.
help you even feel more relieved. You feel
Yes,
lighter.
yes, yes, yes. See, one of the reasons why journaling helps is that it comes from that same chain of thought of a problem, a problem shared. You understand? A problem shared is a problem that is halved. I don't know if you understand. I don't know if you have had a quote like
Yeah,
that
I
before.
understand.
You understand that if you share the problem, you have, yeah, if you talk to someone about the problem, yeah, in some ways you have started solving the problem. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing about journaling is that you're telling the problem to yourself by,
Yeah.
it's as if you are looking at yourself. You understand? You're observing yourself and you're telling it to somebody. It's brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. I want to know the steps. The steps we can use to heal toxic traits. The steps to healing. You said something concerning journaling. What other steps do we can we use for toxic traits to heal
Uh,
toxic traits rather?
Therapy can be really good.
Okay. Therapy. Therapy. Okay, so we have journaling and we have therapy. Therapy in Nigeria is well. My friends and I were just
It's
talking
not.
about we were just
Yeah,
talking
I haven't
about it
really gotten
recently.
very good recommendations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not even about because I do plan on bringing someone to my pod to discuss this. There, we are looking for. We have had some leads, yeah, someone that has the PhD in all these things, to talk about
Mm.
it. Because concerning therapy in Nigeria, I read somewhere that there are only about 250 certified therapists in Nigeria. You understand? And so we're a population of 222 million people. And so we still have to deal with stigmatization and all those things. So even if you
Yeah.
believe that you should go for therapy, you don't even have the required what is that word? You don't have the required agents, the required professionals to even help
Yeah,
you
to
with
deal
it.
with that.
And so it's
That's true.
it's a severe problem. It's a severe problem.
And because not all toxic traits can really be, you can't really heal all toxic traits on your own. Sometimes you need somebody else to guide you. It makes it even harder. And even reading books just help you with the awareness aspect. They may
Yeah,
not necessarily help you with healing.
yeah, yeah.
I think because it's a personal thing, because
Okay.
it's something that people have to do or embark on their
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
It's all still very, let's say, subjective.
Ah, it's just interesting. It's just interesting. I do plan on getting someone to talk about mental health and
Oh, I would looking forward to that. I hope you're able to get someone very
yeah, yeah.
good. That's very informative.
Yeah, yeah. It will be hard to get one of those 250 certified people because you can
Mm,
imagine how expensive it is. My sister told me this morning that it's about 40K an hour.
yeah.
It's about
It's
40.
also not something that the average person can afford.
Can afford, yes. You understand? So it's about forty
So
k
it
an
makes
hour.
it even harder for people to get the healing or to get the therapy that they
That they
need.
need. Yeah, wow. So okay, that means right now right now what that means is that we should just be singing the praises of journaling, which if you leave me, I can keep on talking about for months. So it's
Yeah, I
journaling
think
that is really.
journaling for if you I think journaling is like therapy for broke people really. If we can say that, it helps you to equally micromanage yourself. It gives you a perspective that okay, this is why you do the things that you do. So
Yeah,
journaling is really,
yeah,
really, for me, I found that it's helped me a lot.
yeah. I agree to me too. Journaling is therapy for broke people. I'm going to put that on my Instagram. Anyway, so which other? Let me look for a few more questions before we go. So we have spoken about um, friendships. We have spoken about toxic traits and the likes.
Yeah.
The last section is which uncomfortable or unpopular opinions do you think that are necessary but people are not but people have not yet either they don't know or they know but they have not yet understood how serious it is. Which unpopular opinions have you observed that you know
How serious what is?
like I'm giving an example. I'm saying that which unpopular opinions do you have that you think that although they are unpopular, but you think that they are reasonable? I don't even understand what I'm trying to say.
Not really. In what sense?
In the show notes, you said unpopular opinions that you have that one of the things we could talk about are unpopular
Okay,
opinion.
okay, okay.
So I'm
It's
actually
depending on, okay, like what you said now. You know that there are lots of people that still have that perspective of I can't be friends with somebody who is not earning a certain pay grade.
yeah.
That is equally an unpopular opinion. Some people really believe in that, that yes, your friend should be able to, support you or to send you a particular amount of money to sustain their friendship with you.
As if I understand what you're saying. As if the friendship is something that can be bought. That type of
Yes.
a price to friendship. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I would imagine that when the ultra business like people, no, I put business like because I believe that in some sense there should be a distinction between those two, business and friendship. But them, all the way, there are people that the way they see the world is through money. It's true money. So
Yeah.
if they are not making money with them or for them, they don't have anything to do with you, which I think is a very tragic way to spend this very short time we have on it. But it's something that is really interesting. So,
It
which
is. I don't entirely blame people that are like that because it's also depending of the kind of environment you grew up in. We can't deny that money is an important factor
yeah,
in a lot of people's lives. So if people are using that, I find it very shallow and myopic, especially because a person can have a particular amount of money or so much money and they can lose it all. So
yeah,
what happens when they lose it all? That person automatically stops being your friend because they're not making as much as, or they're not as buoyant as they used to be.
yeah, or maybe
So for me, it's not a very good
a very good metric.
reason to stay friends with someone.
Yeah, yeah. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. So, um, where was your, what's it called? Where can people find your work on social media? On social media. I'm obviously going to put the link to your
In the show notes.
Spotify. Yeah, I'm going to put your link to on. I'm going to put
Okay.
the link to your podcast on Musical. But where else can people go to get more of your work, your thoughts, all the rest?
You can find me on the Lemonade Society pod on Instagram and Anniedora. That's my personal Instagram account. You can also follow on Twitter, which is Anniedora, Annie underscore Dora. But the
Okay.
O is a zero. So D0RA.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Well, Anidora, let me let me wrap this one up. Thank you for coming on the pod.
Okay.
I really
Now it
learned
was
a
very
lot.
good. I was very excited being here.
I really learned a lot.
I've
Okay.
been looking forward to it since you mentioned it. So it's good that we were able to actually sit down and have a chat.
Yeah.
It's tete a tete.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, take care of yourself.
I will, you too.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Bye.